Well, folks, yeah, I'm at the fly tying desk. I'm not at the river. A little tail of wool. I dragged the camera out the other day. I thought I'd get a fishing report put up before the weekend. I failed. I got there right on the right time. I had a great background. Got it all set up. Started to do the fishing report. Checked the audio, and I forgot the microphone. Notice that I set the camera up without the microphone. I started talking and realized I didn't have the microphone on the camera. Talk about being prepared. And then I get the next day, I go out and it's raining, and I didn't want to drown the camera, so here we are at the fly tying desk. Kind of a beautiful day outside. Everybody should be fishing right now. And yeah, we're going into the traditional April 1st opening. Well, anyways, everybody says, you know, we like to see a blooper thing of all of our bloopers and stumbles. The truth is what you really want to see is the Mutt and Jeff show that happens behind the camera, where we're find out how much of a bunch of goofballs we really are. But anyways, after that dissertation, let's get on with the report. A few very quick announcements. One, my personal website, the JPEG Guides website, was down. It's back up. We had to rebuild it and start over again. So the website address is going to be JPEG Guides Fly Fishing. We have a new website up. We got a bunch of interesting information. There's a little blog section that's called Ask Jay. Go in there, look at that. We'll try to put some new stuff up on there, try to keep some fresh photos. It's all refreshed, all brand new. Thank you, Albert, for all the hard work you put into that. The site's awesome. We got a little bit of editing stuff to do, a little bit of adding to do, but that'll all come in time. The neat thing about websites is at least with the new format, we can keep adding new stuff, so sometimes it might be interesting to go back, see what we got up for new photos, see what we got up for new stuff in the blog. And also there's a connection from the website into the YouTube channel too, so we're, after all the trials and tribulations, we got a better website, more convenient website, and the only thing difference now is you put in JPEG Guides Fly Fishing app.com or just .com. Anyways, so that's the first big thing. Also, we do have a handful of dates left in the end of April, early May for steelhead fishing. Great time to swing flies. So if you're interested in swinging flies, doing some spay work, get a hold of me. Contact stuff's on the end of the video. We've got some dates available for that. So it's a wonderful time to swing flies. Usually the river's pretty quiet with people, and we got some very hungry dropbacks. And it's like we refer to that as swing season. So we got some dates still available for that. We got pike dates available, so any you want to go and do the toothy critter thing, we'll be doing that from about mid to late May right into June and July until the water temperatures get funky. And we also got we're going to be doing a little bit of bass fishing along with our trout fishing. Got the spring creeks are coming up. In fact, I'll talk about the spring creeks for a minute in the report. Also, we're still taking names and emails for the spay casting clinic, and we'll start doing confirmed dates later in June. I don't want to do it too early because everybody's got to figure out what's going on with work schedules and everything else and travel. So we'll start doing confirmed dates and probably sometime in June. So until then, we're still collecting. There's definitely some space, space available, so get onto the email list for that. Now we got that out of the way, let's talk about the fishing. I'm going to start out in Western New York because that's where I've been for most of the time myself. And out here it's been a tale of a lot of water. Our creeks have been very high. Our larger rivers, for an example Oak Orchard and all those, has been very high. Everything's been very dirty. For an example, I think a little over a week ago from doing this report, everything was so high we actually ended up bailing off the tribs and going to our spring creek. Oh, by the way, for you trout fishermen on the spring creeks and your other trout fishermen, scuds and midges. There's 6X, size 20 midges, and size 16, 14 scuds. Way to go. That's the game right now in our spring creeks. Some of our trout streams that come in, it's going to be nymphs, streamers, small streamers, nymphs. I don't expect anything to be hatching until later in the month. So that's, geez, I gotta start talking about trout fishing. Awesome. So that's what's going on the trout streams. They're just starting to wake up. Check your water flows. We've had a lot of rain come through the area, so I'm quite sure a lot of the trout streams are going to be high. But like I said, it's going to be a midday fish. It's going to be small nymphs, maybe some small streamers. This is going to be the gig for now. As for the trib fishing in western New York, yeah, the water was high. Yes, the water's dirty. But we also have been having water temperatures fluctuating somewhere between like 42 and 46 degrees, spawning temperatures. So a lot of the fish are starting to get on the gravel. In our creeks, a lot of the fish are way up on the top of the creek, so they're high. We did manage one brown trout on the way out, beautiful brown, this last week. But mostly it's been steelhead. Same thing with the oak, it's steelhead. Because of the dirty waters, I like it. If you're careful, you take your time and you're observant, you can actually do a little bit of sight fishing with them in the pools. We're talking about, you can see your boots and high calf. So if you wiggle your foot around and it's top of the calf, you can make out your foot. Yeah, any color is good as long as it's chartreuse. That works great. Black, we're running like size 4s, big leeches, zonkers type stuff. We're running a bigger fly, a lot of action. I like basically colors. Just stay away from browns and olives because they get lost in the mix. But a lot of your brighter colors, your fluorescent colors will work really good. We get a lot of sunlight on the water coming in. Black works really good, a little silhouette great. The other thing is when you walk to that water and you see that dirty water, keep in mind we're looking down onto a dark black background, so it always looks dirtier than it really perceives. The fish are looking forward or they're looking up, so they're looking into a light background, so everything gets silhouetted really good, and it's not as dirty to them as it is to us. So even though we're stumbling over the rocks and we're having a hard time seeing into the river, they're seeing a lot better than you realize. So that dirty water is not having the negative effect on the fish. So as I tell everybody, embrace the mud, go fish. Just understand they can fit a little bit better. We may have to be a little bit more methodical to find them because we're having a hard time seeing what's going on, reading the water and so on. But there's some real opportunities in that dirty water. I suspect the fishing in western New York to hold up for probably another week, week and a half, depending on water temperatures. So that's kind of what's going on there here in the western end of New York, in the dirty water. Great water temperatures. Now, on the Salmon River, east end of the lake, if you're in the smaller rivers and the creeks, you got good water temperature right now. You're probably just entering to 40 degrees, that spawning temperature. So those fish will be starting to leave those deeper pools, getting very active, getting up on the spawning habitat. The fish are sitting in the pools are going to start getting much more aggressive. So we're starting to get into that temperature where they're going to respond way more to a swinging fly now. Because they're getting up in that 40, it seems to be the magic temperature. So some of those creeks today with the sunshine and the warm rain we had last night could be 42, 44, somewhere in there, I would guess. The Salmon River is still very cold. Ricky was giving me a report of 34 degrees the other day, so the salmon's still running very cold. The salmon is, we're at a release at the dam of 750, so it's a great water flow right now to fish. It is cold, so we're still got to use a lot of our winter presentations. So if you go into the creeks, you get better water temperature. You can swing more. The fish can be a little bit more aggressive, but they're going to be spread out. They're going to be high. They're going to be moving fast. The salmon, they're going to still be in winter mode. So it's still going to be a kind of more of a drifting gig, not as much as a swinging gig yet. It's going to be a lot more stone flies, a few egg patterns. They still got that grumpy bite going on. So it's going to be kind of more that touchy style of fishing in there. Keep in mind, on a warm day, like you get a nice sunny warm day, if you want to swing flies, go to the bottom end like the DSR. Swing through that. The problem with fishing that type of water, like the DSR water, is we're getting our spring run fishing. They're trickling in, but they move fast. So you've got to cover a lot of water. You got to fish fast, fish efficiently, and don't stay in one spot. At the bottom end of the river, you want to think about, hey, I fished 3 miles of water today. I fished 4 miles of water today. I hit a half a dozen pools. I fished through them. So it's mileage and good presentation. Swing it efficiently and get on to the next one unless you find life. Lower end of the river, some of your more fun stuff. The intruders about, right around that 3.5 inch. A little bit of color, some flash. Yes. Middle of the day, bright lights, gets down on that. Sometimes you want to go to a darker color like a blacks and the purples because they silhouette good. In the mornings when you got the shadows, you got a gray day, go with the brighter fluorescent colors. They'll pick them up a lot better. And cover water. It's all about presentation. It's all about coverage. in the bottom end. Up top, stoneflies, bugs, egg patterns. Yes, try the swinging if you want to. You might get one to chase. It's very possible, but we're talking a low probability presentation. Also, folks, April 1st, the upper fly zone opens up, so that could be a little busy. By the time this gets up, it'll probably be April 1st or a little bit after. But the upper fly zone will be opening, so we got more in the upper river. But the bulk of the fish are going to be from about Pineville up. If we get a bump in water and water temperature, we could have some fish spread below Pineville as new fish come in. So that's kind of the gig on the Salmon River right now. It's a coverage game, and the bottom end, it's a technical presentation game in the upper end. And the other thing I want to take note of, the hatchery about 2 weeks ago, finished collecting all their eggs. That does not mean that the fishing's over on the Salmon River. Just because they took their eggs, those fish haven't left the hatchery. They probably won't leave the hatchery. You'll have a tiny bit trickling out, maybe dropping down, but the bulk of the fish, the bulk of the steelhead that run the Salmon River are not in the hatchery. They're in the river, and that water temperature is still in the low 30s. Those fish have not spawned yet. They will spawn when that water temperature breaks over the 40-degree mark. A little bit of biology. 40 degrees starts it. That's why that's a magic number. The spawning activity peaks somewhere around 43 to 48 degrees, give or take a few degrees, around 45. That's when it really gets rolling, and you give yourself about a week at 50 degrees and it'll burn the spawning out. So that's just a little bit of biology on how the spawning activity happens. Now I figure that we're probably not going to see any spawning activity for maybe another week. It's all on water temperature, it's all on weather, but the reality is the bulk of those fish haven't even begun to spawn. You'll find an odd fish on a red in a spring seep or something like that, but the bulk of those fish haven't started to spawn yet because of water temperature. So we have a lot of steelhead fishing on the Salmon River ahead of us. Plus the hatchery is stuffed with fish, and those things will be trickling out until they kick them out of there at about the third week of May. So yeah, we got a lot of fish to fish to over the next for a month, the next 4 to 6 weeks. So we have a lot of steelheading in front of us. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what's going on. I apologize for not having a really cool river background and sitting here listening to my chair squeak and me ramble at the fly tying desk, but obviously I was having a moment of being prepared and organized, and microphone issues, leaving it back behind in the gear bag and not on the river. And of course, when I do a video, it doesn't work good when I do sign language. I suck putting up captions in the bottom. But anyways, see you on the river, and good fishing. We have a lot in front of us. It's just starting. See you, folks. This is Jay at JPEG Guides and Lost River Fishing. We are a year-round fly fishing catch and release guide service. We fish the Lake Ontario tributaries, and then during the spring and the summer we also fish the inland trout streams, classic dry fly fishing. During the heat of the summer we will do the warm water fishing for bass and pike. If you're interested in any of our outings or have any questions, please feel free to email us at fish@lostriversfishing.com. Hope to hear from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to contact us.